Howdy, Internet. I'm Kaiju Billy.
And I'm AWZ the Musical. Welcome to the first episode of Dischord Sessions.
Wow, wow!
And today we are going to be talking about Disney's animated sensation / hated film, Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I wouldn't say hated. That's strong.
Well, there are some people out there who completely despise it based on the source material, though.
Well...
There are always going to be those people, though.
Yeah, but even if I wouldn't say hate, though. Hate's just too strong of a word. Maybe dislike. I mean, people hated Pocahontas.
Oh, true.
Because that was historical.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of a slap... Okay, anyway.
We're getting off topic first.
I love the original film, of course. Movie guy. I love the original Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I was not familiar with Hunchback of Notre Dame when I first saw this movie, and even until my high school years, I was not familiar with the original book or the original film.
Which Boris Karloff, I believe, if I get that wrong, correct me in the comments.
But don't be a dick about it.
I apologize. But, you know, I will stand by, though, I do believe it was Boris Karloff. Fantastic role.
Oh, yeah.
One of the greatest Universal monsters. Aside from the big three, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
But that's what I didn't really get about this movie. Okay. Let's start with the opening, I guess.
Okay, so we start off the film with a very, in my opinion, a very beautiful opening that really gives a good sense of what you're getting into, the characters, the atmosphere.
Which I want to bring in with that. The scenery in this movie is beautiful. This is the reason why I say it could have been animated. If you wanted to animate the Hunchback of Notre Dame, that was the way to do it. The landscaping, the structure, you know, the angling from that.
The colors.
Coloring, the color scheme, all fantastically done. It just didn't work for the plot. For being a Disney animated feature.
Yeah, but... You have to understand, Disney at this point, they had already experienced their multiple high points they were going to experience.
Yeah, and I believe Mulan came out, not Mulan, Pocahontas, I believe came out just the year prior.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we're wrong,
if not, it was
correct us on that.
At least a year or two difference. Because as I recall, this was part of that slowly downward trend.
Yeah, when they had that little... Like, right after the Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast.
And then from then on, it's just a collection of forgotten gems. Or
just very weird, which the storyline for... I'm going to use your word for what it was. For what it was, the storyline and character was okay. The irony is that I loved every character but Quasimodo.
Yeah, I will admit that he was kind of a minor character in this, which, how the fuck can you have a Hunchback of Notre Dame
Which, yes, the story did revolve a little bit more around Esmeralda, of course, in the original movie, but you definitely had that clear focus that Quasimodo was the center of the movie. He was the Hunchback.
Yeah, in some
They
scenes
could have easily renamed this the Gypsy of Notre Dame, and it almost could have been the exact same movie.
Even in some of the scenes, it just seemed like Quasimodo was kind of just sneaking on to his own movie, like, oh, shit, I'm sorry, I forgot you guys were doing something, I'll just come back. Like, but back to the opening. Like, in the opening title sequence and everything, like when they're giving what you need to know about the characters and stuff, it gives you the Frollo character in a nutshell. Corrupted judge who seeks out...
Which, his translation from the original film was done fantastically.
Oh.
Now, it was weird, I believe they made him a judge instead of a priest.
Although, that kind of does fit with the message they're trying to say. Like, they don't want to get too anti-religious as the book was.
It's more of the court that was crooked rather than the church itself.
Yeah, it's more of, like, what is justice, the difference between justice and injustice, and can you bring about justice through the means that Frollo goes by, and it shows that you really can't.
He was doing nothing but using God to justify, which, Hellfire, one of the top 3 greatest Disney songs ever created, and I will stand by that.
And that...
Fantastically done, fantastic visual, a perfect metaphor for the inner struggle that he was, you know, going through, while still giving us a visual sense of that medium. you could still sense that it was in his head. Everything from the cold, barren emptiness of the room after it, to everything going into the fire, you know, being consumed by him.
Right.
Oh, fantastic.
It was all just, like, I agree with you on that, and that's the same with most of the songs. Like, the thing I really love about this animation is that it really fits the dialogue, it really fits the story, like, it just flows so well. Like, that scene when Frollo's describing the gypsies to Thebes.
Yes.
When he's just crushing the ants, and he pulls the stone slab up, and there's just more ants under that slab. Good analogy for what he was trying to describe.
Which did summarize why I feel a few questions that people might have had were answered, just kind of undertoned.
Yeah, like, what is the gyp?
The next problem I have with this, was a little bit against of there being a Hunchback of Notre Dame musical in a sense, but they did it well. Not amazing, but well. The songs were suited for the movie, but you could tell that they were very narrative and almost hard to imagine without that visual medium.
But then again, like, that's the good thing about musicals, is that it has that visual medium with the songs in the background to basically be the exposition in a way that would be interesting. Because what would you say would be a good song that does that then? A good song that really does that is a song like Out There or God Help the Outcast.
See, which I couldn't. Well, I'm talking about opening from another movie.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about like,
No. Like another movie where the opening might have been done better or just as well.
Take Beauty and the Beast.
I know the song.
Bonjour. It tells you everything you need to know about Belle. It tells you everything you need to know about the people she lives. Bonjour.
That's right, where everybody was going. Okay.
Yeah. It tells you everything you need to know about Belle. It tells you everything you need to know about the people in the town. It tells you everything you need to know about Gaston and, whatever his name is. La Flemme? Or La Fouge?
Something. No, this is the song in the beginning, right? Where she's going through the town.
Yes.
I thought that was like, it's like a... Look, there goes that girl.
Yeah, but in the beginning of, like, the actual beginning of Beauty and the Beast, it had that narrative explaining the thing with the Beast's background.
It's been too long since I've seen that.
Yeah, but one of the songs that really does this well in Hunchback, per se, is God Help the Outcast. It gives you a sense of, like, you have Esmeralda singing about how all she wants is for her people to stop being persecuted.
Beautiful characterization song. I don't even know if I could include that in the same list as Hellfire. To have two songs from the same movie seems unfair. But this movie has two of the greatest.
The dichotomy of those two songs. You have one which is Esmeralda talking about how she wants persecution to stop, and then there you have Frollo, who is basically rationalizing why he persecutes people. So you have those.
Well, it wasn't even that. He was trying to rationalize his lust, which very heavy themes for Disney. I give you a thumbs up for the attempt, but really with that ending though.
Oh man.
Which we'll get to that later, but the thumbs down for that, the execution, the subject matter, execution.
Yeah. Oh, and back to the beginning of the movies. A fun fact for all of you: Quasimodo's mother is played by Mary Kay Bergman, who was one of the stars of the hit TV show South Park in the 90s. She played every single female voice on the show up until her unfortunate death in 1999.
I don't even know how to approach that fact, actually.
Exactly, it's something...
Disney hired a South Park.
Yes, a South Park. Not to mention that she was kind of off topic, but she was also the voice for Snow White from 1996 or 97 up until her death. The official voice of Snow White in every commercial, TV spotlight, something like that.
I feel I need a check reference on that, but if that's true, that is incredible.
Oh yeah, Mary Kay Bergman, motherfuckers. Now, also, a character that doesn't get as much respect as it should because, of course, no focus is put on him. Frollo's horse. That is an intimidating looking motherfucking horse, okay?
I think it's the imagery with Frollo that makes the horse.
Yeah, like you have...
Did you notice I had no pupils at times?
Yeah.
Those were very, again, imagery. Very well done. I just was not a fan of the execution of the end. Which, the irony is, I would have loved... this movie was everything I would have loved to see, but not at the same time. I would have loved to have seen an animated Hunchback of Notre Dame and a musical version of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. But yet, done by Disney, they took both concepts that I wanted and sort of splattered the results.
All over the person beside them.
So, not bashing, just...
And one thing
I really get a feeling I'm going to be hated after this video.
Okay, like, the thing about Quasimodo is, yes, he was a very weak character, but at the same time,
he was
had his
so
moral
bland. I'm sorry, but he was like almost every Disney princess.
But he had his moral
cliche.
code to back him up. He actually had character development.
He didn't really have a development, though. It was more of the town's development of how they reacted to him.
But he also had to grow to accept the fact that he wasn't going to get that just because someone was being nice to him, that didn't mean that they were wanting to be with him.
Which
just
was
because
an interesting,
someone,
mature theme.
Yes, just because...
There were a lot of interesting morals in this movie. If we're going to go with Quasimodo being the character, the good moral, you can have a strong, not-so-good-looking character. However, I feel this might have been made better, don't kill me, by Shrek.
Wow, that's a comparison.
I'm sorry, okay, I will explain that.
From Fiona's perspective?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Where at the end, the kiss and everything, it's like, why am I not beautiful? And his comment was, you are beautiful to me. You can have a main character that is not pretty, not beautiful by any standard, but yet still have that great personality and beautiful spirit that shines on their outside.
Mm-hmm. And that's the good thing about Quasimodo is that he has a lot of...
But he didn't go through any character development. He didn't discover anything about himself, though.
He really did, though. Like, at first, he believed Frollo. He
Which,
believed
again,
that
is
he was
odd.
a monster. He believed that he was this outcast, especially when he went out with the
outcast,
people.
yes, which is just so weird, though, to try to take... If you'll remember in the original movie, the original Hunchback was kind of an asshole because of the town. The town was constantly... attacking him, constantly begrudging and hating him for his looks. So he'll go out into a town and attack them sometimes. I might be overstating it, but he would go out in the crowd and at least terrify them.
Right.
But he was still strong-willed with that.
With this one, though...
But yet, at the same time, though, when it came to Esmeralda, he was that really creepy fanboy obsessed.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but Disney missed the mark way off.
Can you really spoil a movie that's over a decade old?
To be honest, I haven't even seen the movie until, like, maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Ah, true.
So there might be people out there, but let's just say it did not have that happy ending. Let any frowny face in the movie be a good representation as to the ending.
Yeah. And another good thing about it is that while you can make the thing that the first half of the film is kind of forgettable, the second half is when it really starts to become a Hunchback movie. Like, starting at Hellfire, that's when it really
Hellfire,
starts.
and then... No, wait a minute, though. Wasn't it, God Have Mercy on the Outcast came first?
Yeah. God Help the Outcast,
Which, yes, from that point, Hellfire really it dropped a little bit in the middle, which we're going to talk about that.
We are going to talk about that.
It pitched began with Hellfire, and then all the way through ran really strong, probably up until about mid-climax.
Yeah.
The siege on the castle.
And the C's could have been done really well.
We'll get to the C's.
Oh, man.
I want to get to the dip in the loss of focus. The gargoyles.
Oh, yes, the gargoyles, ladies and gentlemen.
You take charge of this.
Okay, so you have these these gargoyles voiced by Jason Alexander, some crow-sounding bitch, and that guy who played the long-faced dog in Oliver and Company. And these guys are some of the most annoying Jar Jar Binks-like characters you will ever see in any kind of film.
I could not fucking stand these three. If there was ever a character that was pandering to the lowest common denominator of children, it would have been these three characters.
Yeah, with the goat, you can at least say he was useful. The goat was useful. The horse was useful.
There was plenty of comedic relief in between the serious moments. These three were the most despicable forms of child entertainment.
They could have just left the jester, left the horse, left the goat, and then been done with it.
The complete modernization of a lot of their jokes, the song that they sang.
Oh, A Guy Like You
was
the worst
horrendous.
song of the movie.
Worst Disney song I've probably heard.
Oh my...
I'm gonna throw that in there. Worst Disney song.
Yeah, I can't really call it the worst Disney song.
Now, granted, there was an idea that was running through that could have been really well if they had played it out. If they were characters of his own imagination.
Now that would have worked far too well.
They would have been representations of his psyche, of being trapped in there for so long. They would have been fine.
Oh yeah.
They would have been annoying, but they would have been more annoying along the terms of the genie from Aladdin, rather than having a cactus shoved up your prostate.
Yeah, and that's really the only comparison that you can make. You can only compare the gargoyles to the genie in Aladdin. That's the closest
thing. There were no
thing.
characters like that in the fucking original movie. There was no cutaway humor, whatever the fuck they were supposed to be.
It all could have made so much sense if they were just figments of his imagination, but then that fucking siege happened, which was probably the most beautiful part of the movie. I'll just say that. The scenery just looked so glorious.
The scene, again, going back to that grand scenery,
this is probably
beautifully animated. The coloring, shading, just the size of it all blew me away.
I can safely say this is probably one of Disney's most epic animated movies, just of how grandiose it is.
Grandiose, yes. Yeah. We were just discussing that while we were watching it earlier. What other movies would you include in that list?
Fantasia. And kind of Lion King, because it had like that real grandiose feature to it, especially like the parts in the Pride Lands and stuff like that.
Right. And I put in Frozen for that.
Yeah, you put in Frozen, and hell, even Atlantis, it had that epic quality to it.
Yeah, it actually did.
And
I don't like that movie.
Oh yeah, we're gonna.
I wouldn't really put it as to Disney's best, but it was just so weird though. Like, came out of the blue. Anyway.
Speaking of coming out of the blue, let's get back on topic.
Alright,
and now...
It's just so weird just to have... What was going through their heads when they decided to make an animated musical out of the Hunchback for kids? That's the part that gets me.
I think they were just thinking that since they'd already gotten away with it for Little Mermaid, they thought they could get away with it with Hunchback because
you had to go there.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is this. Like, Disney's not really... Like, they're known for taking original stuff that was
ridiculously
dark.
romanticized.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, you have to realize that you have to have those stock characters to appeal to the kids if you're trying to make it a kids movie. Which I agree, they should not have made it a kids movie.
It should not have been a kid. It should have been animated, but still done very violently.
Yeah, like,
and it could have been a musical.
Like the Lord of the Rings
violently.
The Lord of the Rings animated movie. They didn't try to make that
production.
Yeah, they didn't try to make that a fucking. Hey, that was actually very good in my opinion.
The Rankin Bass production.
No, the Bansky version.
I'm talking about the Rankin Bass.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Bashki, however you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Bakshi.
This joke is confused.
Yeah, but that animated thing...
It was horrible. Don't watch the Rankin Bass.
Don't watch the Rankin Bass. That one's complete shit. I mixed them up. My bad for that one.
I think people are probably going to kill you.
I know. We haven't even gotten to the bad parts of the thing yet. But anyways, one thing that I really liked about the animation is that the action sequences were really well paced and that the jokes that were really good...
Yeah, there really weren't too many jokes being slung around. There was no catchphrases, no one-liners.
It was
the situation.
Yeah, the only real catchphrase throughout the entire movie was when that guy keeps getting freed from one torture device and he just keeps falling into another one.
I like that going joke.
I'm free!
I like the last one was a little too random, I guess too modern.
Oh, yeah.
Where he fell down a manhole.
Yeah, that one was, and it was called Monsieur, and that just, like, painful thing. Which, it doesn't even translate out well. It's my sewer. That's what it translates out to.
I think it was supposed to be man. I honestly don't know. I mean, the joke itself was funny, just the last one really fell flat.
Yeah, and then, of course, one joke that I really loved is when Frollo is teaching Quasimodo, and he's like... What do you think of when you think these letters? D, damnation. E, eternal damnation.
Yeah, okay, we can talk about that. For Disney to take on such a highly religious-centered feature, they handled it about as well as Disney would handle a highly religious feature. The only thing I can even think to summarize that is this right here.
God damn it, hell when you die. God damn it, hell.
The joke that really got to me was the one where Frollo's talking about his last captain of the guard, and he said, "My last captain of the guard did not have a very gracious..." And there's that whip cracking. Frollo's fucking face
where
when that whip crack.
There's a way. It's a musical production. You gotta have a song somewhere.
Oh yeah, we have to.
But okay, going back with Frollo, and this is something I want to bring up to a Tangled too. Completely separate, but we'll discuss that one later. I really think Frollo fucked up his own plan.
Yeah, he
because
did.
The whole time Quasimodo was quote unquote rebellious in wanting to escape from his prison of the tower. But there really wasn't anything Frollo was wrong with. He was right about the townspeople were going to turn on him. He was right about how they were going to torment him with, how different he looked. He was right!
Yep.
And there was no reason for him to be such a dick about that, because, I understand that he hated him, but had he been more, I guess, sympathetic towards him?
Yeah.
Showed him the violent side? He could have very well have made Quasimodo his friend, quote-unquote, rather than the master. They had the master thing going on.
Yeah.
But Quasimodo wouldn't have had reason to betray him and help Esmeralda like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And also...
Which, with the Mother Gothel thing, had she not been a straight-up bitch to Rapunzel for all those 18 years, she wouldn't have had a reason to want to go against, there being dangerous men and monstrous animals out there. She wouldn't have wanted to escape. But because they were assholes about it, they kind of wanted to.
And then the townspeople, they're just bipolar. Like, they celebrate
Going
this
back
guy.
to the topsy-turvy song / sequence that you weren't a fan of.
Okay,
Ironically, I liked that song, but I didn't hate it. I liked it better than the opening ones. The opening songs. They were very well done.
But not as standalone songs.
Which, again, I wanted to see a Quasimodo musical. That would have been beautiful. It just didn't...
Like, do what they did with Phantom of the Opera. That started out as a Universal horror movie, and they romanticized the shit out of that, though. And look at but they still kept the character.
It's still weird. I can't describe why I didn't care for the opening of Quasimodo. The imagery was beautiful. It's just I cannot. I don't know. It's still a strange concept. To make an animated feature out of this sort of material.
Oh yeah, and the fucking beginning of the opening song when he's talking about like what the townspeople do, like he's talking about the baker bakes. No shit, you idiot! That is one of the worst lines I've ever heard in a Disney song.
No. The worst line was anything Jason Alexander sung.
Oh yeah,
in that song. I believe there was actually a moment to where even you hated the movie.
Dude, yeah.
You genuinely hated the movie for 5 minutes.
Yeah, during that
5 minutes.
A Guy Like You song and fucking when they were playing poker with the goddamn birds. Yeah, the fucking gargoyles interact with the birds, and the birds are apparently friends with the gargoyles. Thus making them more
alive and not just figments of his imagination, like what would have worked out much more efficiently, but whatever.
Oh, but one line that...
Disney deemed it.
Yeah, one of the best lines one of the best song lines in lyrics, whatever you want to call them, in the fucking movie was in... when they find the Court of Miracles and the jester is singing and they have the noose around their necks, we find you completely innocent, which is the worst crime of all.
Which I kind of like that scene. I didn't really see why that needed to be a moment.
Like a musical moment?
An entire musical moment. It has some good lines, but they could have easily just been said.
Yeah, but at the same time they wanted to show that the gypsies are like this bombastic...
What, they like the... musical gang?
Yeah, like the Sharks and the Jets.
Sharks and the Jets there.
But, what the, like the wild...
Leaps out of shadows, rhythmically snapping.
Yep. And it's just trying to show, like, they're the wild ones. They're the unpredictable ones. They can just break out into song whenever they want to
Which
because
right
they're
there
the
goes
outcasts.
back to my character focus as to why it was just so weird, because it almost would have worked better had they have made Esmeralda the main character. Like Maleficent.
Make Phoebus the supporting guy.
Phoebus.
Yeah, seriously, Phoebus. Look, I'm pretty sure that's French for something, but I don't know what.
That sounds like Squirrely Jefferson's cousin or something. But no.
Sounds like an ancient Greek city.
It's like Maleficent with the new movie that Disney's making. It's Sleeping Beauty told from the point of the sorceress. Why couldn't they have told the story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame through Esmeralda? There was a lot of background with her. There was a bit more of a character development.
Hell, even we got more development from Phoebus than Quasimodo at times, but
Exactly.
at least Quasimodo
And
had like that.
There was that really strong feminine lead that we could have had long ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was fantastic. She carried the movie on her own for being what was basically a support character. I mean, I know she was, the main cast.
Yeah.
But the movie was very determined to be about Quasimodo.
While
That
also
ugly
trying to
duckling
push him as
story.
while also trying to push him as far away from the
Yeah.
movie as possible.
Which I didn't even see why they had that ugly duckling story. It could have easily been against, that oppression. A strong female lead right there alone is...
And I want to get to one more song, Out There. That's the song that really describes why I like Quasimodo. He's not one of those guys who wants to go and experience love. He doesn't want to go down there to just fuck with the townspeople. He just wants to be among them for one day and be seen as normal, just for a day. No regrets. That type of thing.
Which is what's interesting, because I believe in the original movie, he would go down on those days to purposely terrorize the citizens.
Yep.
Because there's the one day he could, move through the crowds.
And the weird thing about it is that he was being accepted for a little bit, even if it was just in a joking manner, but then these couple fuckhead guards just throw tomatoes at him and mob mentality takes over, apparently. Like, everyone was so sympathetic when the first tomato hit him, and then, once a couple more they're flying, they're all throwing ropes and
throwing the ropes and trying to hang him.
Yeah!
There's a lot of dark... This is one of those weirder, darker Disney movies that doesn't look so dark until you actually see it.
Yeah, there's this one part in A Guy Like You, one of the gargoyles sing. It has, these little Mariette-type things on a noose, and he plays, knocks them around and shit once he pulls the trap door, and I'm just like, what was the point in that? This is supposed to be an uplifting song about, how Quasimodo can get the girl, and you're just involving all this death imagery. Sure, Paris is burning to the ground at the same time, but, oh yeah, Paris is burning to the ground at this time!
Which provide for a very well-done climactic sequence. To not, again, spoil the ending, it does involve what would you call it?
A near-death experience. Phoebus really shows himself as a character. He shows himself to be the guy who is against corruption.
There again,
He's
for
against...
a great support character, a soldier who refuses to be ordered by corruption. He saves the family from the burning building.
Yep. And he refuses to set the building on fire because he even says, I wasn't trained to be a murderer.
Exactly. And where Frollo responds, you were just trained to follow orders.
Yeah, and another reason Frollo fucked up. Okay, so Frollo, his best idea would have been to have Paris turn against the gypsies, right? How are you helping that if you're burning the fucking city to the ground? They're gonna turn against you eventually. Phoebus actually fucking took a stand and said, look at what Frollo's done. He's burning Paris to the ground. Will we allow it? No! They got pissed at Frollo, and that's another point where he just fucked up majorly.
So, in comparison to the Quasimodo anime feature versus the live-action production, which would you say... I would say which was better, but there's just such a differentiation
You
between...
really can't compare them because they're two complete...
And that's what's weird, because normally you can take the animated version of something and definitely tell if it was better or worse.
Yeah.
But, completely different character morals even.
Yeah, it had... Hunchback, the thing that I really like about it is that it doesn't have just one straight out moral. It has all these different morals coming together. It has the you have to figure out, like, there's a difference but figuring out who's the monster and who's the man. That was the main theme, but also you have
man or monster, yes.
You have Quasimodo having his lesson, which is knowing that he's not always going to get everything he wants. He's not going to get the girl, but he knows he's doing the right thing. He knows that he's helping the city. He knows he's helping Esmeralda. He's doing it because he cares about her, not because he wants to be with her.
Yeah, that was interesting to have a movie where the main characters didn't even get together.
Yeah, and it really shows that you can just build a relationship off of friendship as opposed to just meeting one day and then instantly falling in love. Which, unfortunately, Phoebus and Esmeralda, that was...
Actually, they didn't get married, though. There wasn't an official marriage at the end.
We'll get to that
in the second. It was sort of the symbolism.
If we ever hit the second fucking movie, we'll get to that.
We don't take kindly to that kind of talk around here.
Moving right along! So, another interesting thing concerning voice actors is Quasimodo. Back to him. He is played by Tom Holtz, who also played Pinto in the movie Animal House. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here are my Animal House jokes for Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Think he's ugly now? Watch this.
Up there, strolling by the sand, taste the morning out there like ordinary men.
A long lifeline. Oh, and this one means you're shy. C-N-A.
Any what?
Monster lines. Not a single one. Now you look at me. Do you think I'm evil?
No.
And maybe Frollo's wrong about the both of us.
Before we go any further, there's something I have to tell you. I lied to you. I've never done this before.
I lied to you, too.
Oh, yeah? What about?
I'm only 13.
With all due respect, sir, I was not trained to murder the innocent.
But you were trained to follow orders.
Esmeralda, wake up. You're safe now.
Fucker. Fucker brains out. Sucker tits with your body.
Kaiju, totally worth it.
Kaiju's back in heat now.
So, back to the movie. So, let's get to the siege, the part everyone's been waiting for. And oh my god. Again, beautiful imagery, but also, one thing I really love about it is the fact that when the lava and the fire starts happening, you actually start seeing the city of Paris take on a more sinister form. Its true sinister form.
Which, again, is why it worked great as an animated movie. Just the scenery, that... I love the word imagery, apparently, but that's the only word to describe it, was fantastically set. Angles, visual representations, all beautifully well done. One of the greatest animated moments.
Oh yeah. And also, like, how it takes on this completely sinister, the sinister setting, because the people of Paris are the ones who have been going against Quasimodo, but now they're falling victim to the same person who has been oppressing Quasimodo.
Right.
So they're having to go through the same hardships that he had to go through, to an extent, much greater extent.
And I'm gonna say it, that was a really dark death for Disney.
Oh, yeah.
That was like, now, it was very Beauty and the Beast-esque, very heavily influenced by Beauty and the Beast.
You may even call it a complete... I love the movie, but I'll say this. The last couple minutes of that siege were completely ripping off Beauty and the Beast.
Well, I don't know. They do a lot of artistic...
like the setting of the gargoyles and everything. The fact that Frollo's, like Quasimodo's hiding amongst the scenery and
I think
everything.
it was more of a visual throwback that, yes, this is a very similar moment, which Beauty and the Beast, again, had that, who is the man in the monster? So, even then, you could say that Beauty and the Beast was a more efficient Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Which, again, goes back to why I ask why Hunchback of Notre Dame had to be made into an animated feature to begin with for Disney, especially in that time period.
Yeah, like, they had all
that just
this...
completely stagnated.
It's not like they weren't short of dark material at that point. They had released The Lion King at that point, Little Mermaid, which that was just a dark time for everybody. They
say that's it was. I don't just say it was. What
and it had really
Disney.
Dark moments also. Like that point when Ursula died, that was a dark ass moment. Like that whole ending scene.
I may lose followers, or I just might lose people, but I hated The Little Mermaid.
Oh, same here. The Little Mermaid was just like... We'll get to that another day.
That's another day, another time.
And another set of internet suicides. And one thing that I like about
let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up.
Alright, so... In conclusion, Hunchback of Notre Dame, one of the most beautiful movies that Disney has ever released. You could watch it just alone for the beauty of it. Even in the bell tower, the interior designs of everything just looks so
I actually kind of thought
brooding.
that was the only purpose that they made a Hunchback of Notre Dame movie like they did.
Is so they could set Paris.
Just so they could set Paris, and just so that they could use him as sort of the camera focus to show you that overall.
That's why I think Out There is one of the best moments in the entire movie.
It
just shows. I think the song is really strong for what it is because
it was just so bland, though. It was part of their world. It was When Will My Life Begin or When Will My Dream, whatever that song from Tangled was.
But at the same time, it added a completely different aspect. It added a completely different aspect to it, though. With part of their world, Ariel's just wanting to go up and get some tail.
Okay, in
literally.
In that defense, she wanted to go on land before she saw Eric.
But at the same
I'm
time,
stop
she didn't want to
defending it
go
now.
Yeah, but even then, her ideas weren't like, oh, I want to go up there and be accepted. Hers was more like, oh, I'm so tired of being trapped under my
I'm
father's
sorry.
rule.
Are you tired of being a mermaid that can talk to fish and animals?
Yeah, you poor thing.
God.
Well, I'm so sorry to put so much upon you. Like,
we've got the good life up here, not being able to talk to animals, not being able to breathe underwater.
Having to deal with the Industrial Revolution. Well,
having to have
even
legs.
the mermaids had to deal with the Industrial Revolution. Let's say that.
I'm sorry, it's the same reason you don't get the blue shell when you're in first place in Mario Kart.
It was the same thing with the Tangled song as well. It was wanting to get out for the sake of getting out. It wasn't. They weren't looking for acceptance in a world that they were told has been cruel to them.
I think we just bridged so many sequel episodes off this.
Yeah, seriously.
Because every one of those is ones that we have very strong opinions on.
Oh yeah.
Again, you're all free to form your own opinion.
We're
just
all
the ones
our
getting paid for ours.
Yeah, very much so. And my opinion on Hunchback, it is my favorite animated Disney film because the characters are so well-rounded. Even Quasimodo, I do like him as a character because of his strong moral code. He's bland as all shit, but he knows right from wrong. He knew that he had to make that choice between being stuck in a tower his entire life or accepting the fact that no matter what happens to him, no matter how he's perceived, there is more that he can do.
So
there
you
is
liked
more.
it. You enjoyed the changes that they made for the story that you thought needed to be told.
Oh yeah, and the only things that I would say was that the comedy was really lacking. They tried so hard to have those comedic moments.
I would say more.
Yeah, they were lacking and forced. When they were there, they were forced. But other than that, it was just a pure dramatic movie. Which I saw they were trying to go for that comedic standpoint as well. Like the way that they would have Frollo's his facial reactions and everything. They were trying to go for like a comedic type of thing.
very visual.
Like dark humor, I would say.
I'm gonna
like
say
that lipping scene, especially.
It was good as it was, but again, it needed to be mature. That was my concern. It was not mature enough to be the movie that it needed to be and that it could have been. Which, ironically enough, I will say for a lot of my favorite Disney movies, including Frozen, I would say were not mature enough for the material that needed to be at hand.
But for what it was, it still had that maturity to it.
I still had the issue also with how the other side characters were more well thought out, more well done, and I would have preferred to see an Esmeralda movie. That is actually my review. I would prefer to see an Esmeralda movie.
Let's start the petition now. If you want to start an Esmeralda movie, go to www.soylenttacos.wedon'tgiveafuck.com. I'm AWZ the Musical.
I'm Kaiju Billy.
And this has been Dischord Sessions.
Out of my skin, just say no more. What could you want with my useless soul? I'll lose you more bets than the Super Bowl. Yeah, the blood is warm and the juice is cold, but that won't stop me from leaving deuces, yo. Remember this now, I'll be back if I fly out. Take some inspiration now, maybe something to cry out. Somebody talking behind my back, hey, I'm gonna find out. And I'm never leaving again, been way too many times now. Vampiric tendencies, the fire in your heart is the fire that's dead to me. In a world more nasty than the human centipede, here's your only chance if you want to make amends with me. If I were gay, I would be Edward from Twilight.